Okay, welcome back, Pokemon trainers. We are here now at round 5 of the Frankfurt Regional Championships. And we got another great game for you here.
Yeah, we're halfway through the day. It's been very hectic, to say the least.
For sure.
The players are exhausted, but you know, there's a halfway point. You really need to pick up those last bits of energy and really push through. And we have got 2 4-0 players for you.
Yeah, so it's definitely going to be exciting. I'm just going to reveal who we have here on stream
yeah,
right now.
go for it.
We got this great Spanish player in Alex Gomez on stream right now. Both of these players are 4-0, and on the other side, his opponent is Bartosz from Poland, which is a relatively unknown player yet to the scene. But I know him personally from because he's in the kind of the European circuit.
He comes to my locals as well.
Oh, does he actually?
Yeah,
wow.
He likes coming to all the Orpington VGC events.
Okay.
But yeah, he's one of these players that hasn't sort of broken out in the main sort of European circuit. But he's well known by a few players. But it's going to be interesting to see here at 4-0 in Frankfurt whether he's going to be able to take it all the way.
Yeah, and I mean, you don't go 4-0 with just sheer luck.
Oh, definitely not.
You definitely have some skill in you if you're able to do that. And funny thing is, if I look at his team, I think that's the same team that we saw from Yuri on stream as well.
Yeah.
So maybe you want to go through the 6 Pokemon on both sides here.
Let's have a little refresh. We have got on Bartosz's side, we've got the Incineroar, the Heatran, Venusaur, Groudon, Xerneas, and Kartana. Whereas Alex is going to be bringing Xerneas, Groudon, Incineroar, Tapu Lele, Smeargle, and Kartana. So very similar Pokemon across here, but that little tricksy Smeargle's on Alex's side.
Yeah, and the Tapu Lele as well, which is something that we haven't seen yet today. Bartosz's team is actually something we did see today. Exactly the same team we saw Yuri run as well. It's kind of a core that I think a lot of solid players picked up on. It's kind of an interesting core. 2 fire types, 2 grass type, 2 steel types as well. And it's definitely a solid core with that Xerneas Groudon combination. We also see that on Alex's side, but he picked a few surprises in terms of that Smeargle and the Tapu Lele. Of course, Smeargle and Tapu Lele work pretty well together. Tapu Lele being able to set up that terrain just in case your opponent has a Tapu Fini or a Tapu Koko, making sure that Smeargle can still go for spores, just gives it a little bit more freedom in terms of usage.
Exactly. They're a good core to be together, as is on Bartosz's side the Venusaur and the Groudon. And there are no Kyogre in this matchup, so if the sun's going to be out, it's going to be out very strong. And the Venusaur's going to love being in that with the Chlorophyll ability, gaining up a lot of speed. So it's going to be interesting to see which of these Groudons, if they do both choose to bring them, are going to be dominant. But I think the most thing to note is both you've got Xerneas and Groudon cores. Yeah,
and I think we're going to see Venusaur immediately from Bartosz, because just with that double speed, it's going to be threatening right off the bat. And yeah, that is what we're going to see.
That's exactly what we see. It's going to be Groudon and Venusaur. For Bartosz's side, it's going to be that Tapu Lele and Kartana. So 2 Pokemon we saw a lot as well in the 2017 format and 2018.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, kind of an interesting position here. We first have the Venusaur with the big speed advantage. And it's actually Psychic Seed Tapu Lele. That's very interesting because Tapu Lele already has a natural, pretty high special defense. Boosting it now even further. And that is actually really interesting because now if it's faster, then it's not going to take a lot of damage from a Slush Mob at all.
Exactly, it really helps out against that Venusaur.
For sure, but it still really has to worry about Sleep Powders though. Which is, I think, what you want to go for here if you're Venusaur in this position.
Exactly. There's no option to change the terrain. So if you're going to go for something like Spores, Sleep Powder, any of those sleep-inducing moves, if they connect, it's going to go off.
Yeah, so like rightly said from the start, this Venusaur offers a lot of pressure, but you do have to be worried about clicking Sleep Powder too often because it's not your most reliable move.
No, very true. And I think Yuri had a few problems with sleep in his game. Actually, we're going to see a switch come out straight away. So Heatran going to jump out for the Groudon. Going to enjoy being in the sun there as the Tapu Lele goes for a Protect. So straight on the defensive there. And it is a Sleep Powder straight away from the Venusaur. So good Protect there on Alex's side as Tailwind comes out from the Kartana though. So
Tailwind.
Great play from Alex there, protecting one Pokemon and making sure he got the Tailwind boost on the other. So even though you've got the Chlorophyll activated for just the Venusaur, both of Alex's Pokemon are going to benefit from this speed.
Yeah, so that's really big now. On the other hand, this Heatran is now in a pretty good position. It is in the sun. This Kartana is going to do some damage to it with Sacred Sword, but none of these Pokemon really want to take a Heat Wave. In the sun, that's going to do a lot of damage. We know that now that the Kartana is not going to be in Assault Vest like most of these players run, actually. So it could be Focus Sash or something similar to that. So I think even though the Tailwind got up, Bartosz is still in a decent position here, but at least the Venusaur is a little bit less threatening now.
Definitely, and I think you need to figure out some of the items here, gauge that bit of information. Like you said, you know now that Kartana is not Assault Vest. Is it going to be Sash? Do you have to double into it in some way?
Yeah.
But the Heatran here looking so strong, can easily go for some nice fire-type moves in the Sunshine. Kartana on Bartosz's side going to join the field as well, as Sacred Sword will connect onto the Heatran, takes it down to about 50%, as Tapu Lele goes for the Psyshock. Going to go into the Heatran as well, and actually nearly picks up the KO there, gets it down to 26 hit points, as it goes for the Heat Wave. Does connect on both these Pokemon. Obviously, Kartana's not going to appreciate this at all, and actually does get KO'd there.
Wow.
So no Focus Sash revealed, and Tapu Lele taking a good chunk of damage there as well.
Yeah, that's interesting, because usually Focus Sash or Assault Vest are the kind of items that you see on a Kartana. That kind of brings me to probably my third choice, which is going to be kind of the Berry variant here. But I don't think if you mind this too much if you're Alex, because you get a free switch into your Groudon, which really threatens the Kartana on Bartosz's side. Because if this is actually the exact same team as Yuri, which we're not sure yet, but if it is, if it's an Assault Vest Kartana, Fire Punch could just pick up a clean knockout here, and Heatran is definitely in another Psyshock range.
Exactly. Kartana is one of those Pokemon as well, though. It has such thin sort of defenses in general, that if it's going to be a fire-type move in the sun, it doesn't really matter what you've done to it. Your Kartana is most likely going to go down.
Yeah, definitely. it's not going to want to take any of these kind of attacks.
But it can still deal damage to that Groudon with Leaf Blade.
Yeah, but on the other hand, Alex could also just go for a Precipice Blades and a potential Psychic. So he has a lot of options, and Bartosz is really thinking about what he wants to switch into that.
Yeah, went down to 1 second there on the clock, goes for the Protect on Heatran. The Tapu Lele actually going to go for the Moonblast here. Kartana not protecting, potentially could be Assault Vest revealing that information, as the Moonblast only does a minimal amount of damage. Does get a special attack drop, but Kartana doesn't mind that at all, as Groudon does brave himself for the Precipice Blades. It will connect onto that opposing Kartana. Going to do a good amount of damage. Does pick up the KO, actually. And Kartana will retreat back to his trainer.
Oh, it's Life Orb. That's why. Yeah, I was like, that's a lot of damage for a Precipice Blades.
The extra damage does matter.
Yeah, that matters a lot. So that's a big KO there for Alex. And he still has at least one turn of Tailwind left. And this Heatran already protected. So Bartosz is actually kind of struggling at the moment. If it's... Because we saw from Yuri as well that his Venusaur didn't run Protect. So I wouldn't guess it. But I think this Venusaur might also not carry Protect. And if that is the case, he's really in a lot of trouble. But the way he actually brings in his Venusaur right now, I think if he just protects the Venusaur and then brings in the Groudon next turn, the Tailwind should have been expired by Alex's side. And I think then he might have had the speed advantage again to kind of do something in return. Because right now, under Tailwind, Bartosz definitely has a disadvantage here.
Yes, the Tapu Lele is really threatening against that Venusaur. Not only sort of super effective damage with Psychic type moves, getting that special defense boost as well is just going to negate the damage output that Venusaur normally would threaten against it. Could still potentially get something like a poison, but I think if you're going to let Tapu Lele get a move off on you in its Psychic terrain, it's going to be dealing so much damage. So much so that this Venusaur actually is fearing it enough to go for a Protect. So not going to be taking any damage in this particular turn. As Tapu Lele goes for the Moonblast though, maybe reads that was going to be a Protect coming out from Venusaur, and nearly picks up the KO on that Heatran, but it is going to be around. If it can avoid this Precipice Blaze, it can fire off a huge Heat Wave, but no. Groudon is being super accurate in this game. Yeah. Doesn't want to worry his trainer. Like, clearly he's got a good bond with Alex, and he's actually managed to pick up the KO against this Heatran.
Yeah, so that's a big KO by Alex there. And at least the Groudon comes in on Bartosz's side now. But the thing you really got to worry about if you're Bartosz is this Venusaur really needs the sun in order to be threatening. And if I'm thinking about what kind of sun turns we have left, I don't think we have a lot left at all.
No, I think we've only got about one more turn left of sun. The joy, though, that you've got both these Groudons on the field is if, although Bartosz can't switch out to bring his back in, Alex does still have a Groudon. So if he does switch out himself and brings it back in, he can regain that sun. But if you're Alex, you probably do not want to be putting that Venusaur at any more of an advantage. Potentially could start getting some Fire-type moves off onto it just to try and pick up some KOs.
I think the most awkward thing here is I think once Alex gets enough chip on this Groudon, the Kartana on the back just wins, because Venusaur has no way to touch Kartana unless it's maybe running something like HP Fire, because Slush Bomb does nothing, you can't Sleep Powder it, you can't Grass Knot it either, and we've seen Protect, which is usually the kind of set that you want on a Venusaur. So I don't think Bartosz has like room for something like Empower Fire. So I think if you're Alex, that's kind of your game plan here. Just make sure that you get off some damage against this Groudon, just in order for your Kartana on the back to kind of sweep.
Well, Tapu Lele going for Protect, as is the Groudon. So I think Alex wants to scout a little bit about what Bartosz is doing, or is potentially stalling out that last sun turn.
Yeah, I think that's what he wants to do. He wants to make sure that the sun has run out, because Alex is not really benefiting from it at all. So it's pretty safe that he just stalls it out, and make sure that it goes away. Psychic Terrain, yeah, should also go away because it started the same turn.
Yeah, they were out in the leads.
But at that point, at first the Groudon, you don't want to go for Psyshocks anyway. You want to fire off Moonblast instead. Yeah, I still think the same game plan counts for Alex here. Just get a little bit of chip on this Groudon, and your Cortana in the back should have a good time.
Exactly.
Oh, no, wait, the Cortana's knocked out.
Oh, yeah, of course, Cortana has been KO'd. We haven't actually seen the final Pokemon on Alex's
no,
side.
So that actually kind of still matters. If it's Xerneas, it doesn't want to face a Venusaur at all. So then you really got to think about which one of these two do you prioritize on KOing.
I think if you're going to go for a Precipice Blades maybe on Alex's side, just to try and get that extra damage off, it still deals a huge amount of damage. We've seen as well it has got the Life Orb. Yeah. So anything that is coming out of his way, if it's even going for like a Fire Punch or something into that Venusaur, the added damage output from that Life Orb is going to be huge. But you can see these players really taking their time. It's actually going to be the Groudon on Alex's side switching out for that Incineroar. So getting the Intimidate off as well, and that's quite crucial. If you can't deal the damage out on Bartosz's Groudon, you might as well start lowering its attack a little bit. Plus you get the Fake Out Pressure in the next turn, which can always be useful now that Psychic Terrain has disappeared. But Moonblast coming out from that Tapu Lele, like you said, Rob, that's the move you want to be hitting Groudon with, and it does actually do about 50%. Bartosz's Groudon as well, going to be accurate, goes for that Precipice Blaze. This can do a huge amount of damage, actually picks up a double KO.
Is that a critical hit? Wow.
That did so much damage to that Incineroar despite the Intimidate.
That's not a critical hit. Oh, wow, that must be a choice band Groudon.
That did so. I was not expecting after that Intimidate.
No, and with no critical hit at all, that's definitely a choice band Groudon. And that actually puts Bartosz back in the driver's seat here, because now Alex actually sets up the sun again for this Venusaur.
Exactly.
Venusaur
could
really
go for
awkward.
Grass Knot, which we just saw it reveal.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't. It doesn't even need to go for Sleep Powder, because most of these Venusaurs run Focus Sash anyway. So yeah, I think a Grass Knot and just going for a Grass Knot Fire Punch should be able to seal up the game here for Bartosz. And
I mean, if it is choice band, he's not going to be able to switch into Fire Punch. But I think, the accuracy of these Precipice Blades at the moment, you can hopefully sort of pray that it's going to be able to carry through. But I was not expecting that at all from Bartosz. And it does just show that in game one, as much as it is obviously about winning, you want to be able to win the set, getting information can be so crucial. And we know that Alex, being such an experienced veteran of VGC, is going to be able to take that information and play so differently in game two. The Grass Knot coming out here is going to do a huge amount of damage.
Wow, that is pretty straight pick up the KO there. Yeah, Venusaur is very strong, and that's probably not a very defensive Groudon on Alex's side either. We've seen the Life Orb, and we've seen kind of the Tailwind support that it has, which probably assumes that it is a very fast and offensive Groudon, and makes Grass Knot just pick up the clean KO there from about 80%. And wow, what an interesting set there, because I felt like Alex was in the driving seat for a lot of the time there, having the speed control for most of the game. But probably just not picking up enough KOs when it matters, allowing Bartosz to slowly climb himself back into this game with this Venusaur.
And I think definitely having the choice band on there really made it pivotal, because you get the Intimidate off Incineroar, and if it's sort of any other variant of Groudon, you're going to think you're going to be able to survive that, potentially maybe get your fake out off next turn. And Alex was really aware throughout that game. He knew his Sun turns, he knew his Psychic Terrain turns. Yeah. So he made sure to get himself into that ball positioning where Venusaur was now out of the sun. He got his Incineroar in when Psychic Terrain was out. So he was putting himself in a great position, and then just out of nowhere, this Groudon not only connected, but absolutely swept through his team.
Yeah. I'm not sure if Alex maybe made a mistake in switching out the Groudon at some point, because there was a point when the sun has run out, and he switched out the Groudon just to set it up for the Venusaur again. When I feel like a Moonblast and a Life Orb Precipice Blades might have been enough to knock out the Groudon on Bartosz's side, which I think could have been a good play for him to go for, especially because Venusaur would underspeed without the sun. But by switching it out, he actually allows the sun to go back on and making this Venusaur such a big threat again.
That's very true.
But he probably didn't know about the choice band. Maybe he was predicting a Protect on this Groudon, which is a reasonable play from Bartosz would have been as well. But now he knows about this choice band, so he can kind of adapt to that in game two.
Exactly. If he hadn't swapped out the Groudon, he would have had the Incineroar on the back. That could have come in and done some good damage against that Venusaur, as long as you got rid of that Groudon on Bartosz's side. But again, we need to maybe look at the speeds a little bit of these Groudons. It could have been a speed tie if he had stayed in. But it's all sort of dicing plays when you are playing Pokemon. You never know in game one what's going to happen. I think this is a perfect example of it. But if you're Alex right now, do you think you're going to stick with the same Pokemon, or are you going to change it up with that information now that you've gained?
Yeah, it's interesting, because I feel like the Tailwind was pretty good against Bartosz's team. I think he just maybe could have capitalized on it a little bit better than he did, actually. So maybe that's something that you want to adjust. And it's just, you just got kind of unfortunate in not knowing the Groudon item and just sacking his Incineroar at some point. So these are definitely kind of points of improvements that he needs to do in game two. But he's actually going to go with the same lead.
Yeah, going to be Tapu Lele and Kartana. And I believe it's going to be the Groudon and the Venusaur once again. So no changes coming out from these players. Alex, maybe with the information, is going to be able to shake it up. And maybe wants to just get rid of this Venusaur straight away, go for some kind of psychic damage onto it.
Yeah, for sure. The interesting part about this Kartana is that it's really good in this matchup, but last time he only really used it to set up a Tailwind. Which is kind of unfortunate because you really want your Kartana to be doing more, especially because it can wall the Venusaur. Once you hit this Groudon for a little bit of damage, Kartana can just clean up as well. And then Bartosz kind of is starting to lack in Kartana answer. So I think that's maybe something that Alex has to keep in mind. Maybe saving this Kartana on the back, because this is also a good point for Incineroar maybe to come in. You just gotta be worried about the sleep outers from the Venusaur though.
Exactly, and with the Kartana as well, we don't know the item. It was revealed it wasn't Focus Sash, and it can be versatile. It has got Tailwind to be that support, but a more offensive set and maybe the other 3 moves could really benefit him in this position. But it is that Sleep Powder going into the Protect of the Tapu Lele. It's going to be another Tailwind from this Kartana. Doesn't want to maybe threaten some Leaf Blades.
I think that's going to be a Fire Punch to Kartana.
Going straight into it. And I think Alex is going to lose his Kartana in turn 1.
Yeah, and I think fair enough play from both sides. I think really good play from Bartosz. I mean, sure, you kind of give your opponent a Tailwind, but you also get rid of the Kartana, which is one of the main issues that you have with your team. And if you're Alex, you kind of have to protect the Lele there. You don't want to risk Sleep Powder. You don't want to do that at all. And now once you have a Tailwind, you're in a much better position. And he actually brought Smeargle into this game.
Yeah, one of my favorite Pokemon to see. We're talking about getting information. Smeargle is one of those Pokemon you have no clue what it's going to be bringing. There's a lot of common things like Fake Out or Follow Me, Wide Guard, those kind of things. But it could also be going for spores of its own.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm really interested to see what it's going to do here. Smeargle can, of course, learn every move in the game. So if this is actually a Focus Sash, Venusaur, not an interesting thing that it could do is maybe go for an Instruct Psyshock or like an interesting combination like that. The only thing that I don't like about this combination from Alex at the moment is that if Bartosz has that Heatran in the back, even though this Smeargle could put it to sleep, Heatran just kind of walls Tapu Lele completely.
And he can't stop the Sleep Powders now.
No, that's true. No.
So even if you go for Follow Me, that Smeargle can be put straight to sleep, and then the next turn, if Venusaur is still hanging around, you never know, it might have a Focus Sash or something. It's able to put sleep onto that Tapu Lele. But there's going to be a switch out, and like you mentioned earlier, Heatran's now on the field. Psyshock coming out from Tapu Lele, though. Going to go into that slot, though. So Heatran's going to be able to take that no problem.
Oh, lovely kiss.
Lovely kiss coming out from the Smeargle. Going to connect onto that Heatran, and will be sending it to sleep. So Lovely Kiss has been one of those moves that's been rising in popularity over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, but Bartosz just doesn't protect this Venusaur, and Alex doesn't target it at all. And he just puts his Smeargle to sleep, which is pretty big for Bartosz here. Yes, the Heatran gets put to sleep as well.
But that Venusaur's still awake to sleep out of the Lele.
Yeah, exactly. So, and this Venusaur, I'm still assuming that it has the Focus Sash, so it's pretty safe to just go for Sleep Power onto the Tapu Lele. Even though the Heatran's asleep, it still really walls these 2 Pokemon. So I think what Alex really wants to do is he wants to kind of predict the Sleep Powder slot and bring in his own Groudon maybe, because he needs to capitalize off this Tailwind. And now with the Smeargle sleep, he really can't do that at the moment.
No, exactly. And, you know, Lovely Kiss, one of those moves that's very interesting. It can affect grass types. And interestingly enough, he didn't pick the grass type to target into in that. Could have easily gone for a Spore onto that Heatran. But
wow, into the Heatran again?
Yeah, I feel like Alex is maybe predicting some hard switches going on here, maybe thinking Groudon was going to come back in.
Yeah, or predicting a Venusaur Protect, because we've seen already that, I mean, it's obviously, it's in Tailwind now, the opposing Pokemon. So we've seen Protect as well on Venusaur, so that could be a decent call.
This Venusaur has no fear, and I think that's one thing is Alex was maybe expecting Bartosz to play a little bit more conservatively, but he's just playing so gutsy here, not protecting Venusaur. We've seen it has Protect, but it's just going absolutely running through Alex's team right now.
Yeah, that's crazy, and Alex just, I'm not sure I like how he's positioned at the moment at all.
No, it's definitely tricky.
No, it's really hard for him now. At least the Smeargle got an evasion boost, so that definitely helps his chances there with that Lucky Kiss as well. I mean, he can basically put everything to sleep.
We could be here for a long game.
We definitely could be, but on the other hand, he only has 1 turn of Tailwind left, and he doesn't have a lot of chances to really make an advantage out of it.
Well, Heatran switching out, and it's going to be the Kartana jumping in here. So if Alex is maybe finally targeted down that slot, it could potentially do a little bit more damage. As Venusaur does finally go for the Protect here. Smeargle going to keep taking a little nap here. Unfortunately, not going to be a good support here to the Tapu Lele. And the one time that Tapu Lele does not target that slot, it goes into the Protect. So Bartosz here just playing masterfully. Alex can't call anything right.
No, he's just reading Alex like a book here. That's crazy. He just leaves his Venusaur unprotected the whole time in Tailwind. And then finally, when Alex decides to target it, goes for the Protect there. Yeah, really well played. And Bartosz just in total didn't take a lot of damage at all when Alex had his Tailwind up. And meanwhile, it was Alex, even though he had the speed control, he keeps losing momentum and he keeps losing health on his Pokemon. And this Tapu Lele is at full health, yes, but all the Pokemon next to it have been slowly going down. And this Smeargle is also at the verge of going down to any attack here.
Exactly. Smeargle's not going to be lasting too much longer. I mean, the Evasion could have something to say about that.
Yeah, but it's Sacred Sword Katana, I'm assuming, on the opposing side, which I think is a really safe option to go for. This Tapu Lele is not going to be able to threaten the Kartana at all, so I think a Sacred Sword into that slot.
Get the Beast Boost as well, just to help yourself out a little bit. Then you'll be able to threaten Tapu Lele with so much other damage. Tapu Lele actually going to retreat back to Alex. Going to bring in, I believe that is the Groudon? No, yeah, it is the Groudon. Thinking Tapu Lele maybe needs a little bit of a break as the Smeargle goes for a Spiky Shield, so won't be taking any damage this turn. Might even try and get a little bit of chip onto the opposing Kartana, but Sludge Bomb actually going to go into that first of all as Smart Strike comes out, going into the Groudon that was Tapu Lele, and going to do a little bit of chip damage there as the sun fades. So Groudon coming in just on the wrong turn for that sun. But that actually helps him out.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think Alex minds that too much, especially because you mostly want to fire off Precipice Blades anyway.
Bartosz has his own Groudon in the back.
I mean, at least the Smeargle wakes up, but it's still really tough because now the Kartana is going to move first. And yes, Groudon's probably going to get off one Precipice Blade, so that's not going to be enough to KO the Kartana. He could go for a Fire Punch, but then he's probably just going to go down to a Grass Knot from this Venusaur. Because this Smeargle, even if it redirects something, the Kartana should be faster than it. And the Venusaur with a Grass Knot should be able to pick up the KO on the Groudon on his side. So Alex is in a really tough position. And I'm not sure what he can do kind of to get himself out of there. Maybe he has to hope that Bartosz makes kind of a mistake there.
I mean, so far he hasn't been making any.
No.
He's just been calling the turns so masterfully. Actually, the Groudon is going to retreat back to Alex, and it's going to be the Tapu Lele coming out once again. Interesting choice here, because I mean, obviously you're still not going to get the sun up unless Bartosz does switch out his own Kartana, maybe protects on the Venusaur. But it's actually going to be almost trying for a double protect on that Smeargle. Wants to keep that around as Smart Strike goes into the Smeargle. Going to be able to get a Beast Boost here. Obviously, Bartosz maybe then wants to keep his Kartana on the field now. It's got his little Beast Boost. It's going to be able to hit with Smart Strike really strong into that Tapu Lele. As Grass Knot goes into what was the Groudon, does a little bit of chip, and I think that's definitely going to be enough now for this Kartana to pick up against Tapu Lele, and Grass Knot against that Venusaur. Grass Knot against the Groudon, now that the sun's back.
Yeah. So
it's all working out for Bartosz.
It's all working out, and these two Grass types on Bartosz's side are just sweeping here.
They're so happy.
And I don't think Alex can do anything about this. I think even a potential ally switch is not going to be able to save him here, because he needs a lot of Precipice Blades to crawl his way back into this game. So yeah, I think really well played by Bartosz, and yeah, Alex is going to lock in the forfeit. He sees that there's no real out for him here. Bartosz could just lock into Smart Strike and a Grass Knot, and he had no options against that, and we see just kind of a 4-0 victory there from Bartosz in game 2.
That was absolutely incredible. I mean, Alex didn't play bad at all either. He didn't really make mistakes, but the problem was Bartosz called him on absolutely everything.
Yeah.
And particularly when you have two very similar teams, you know, you've got the Groudons, you've got the Kartanas, you need to call each other's bluff a little bit, and you need to make sure you have the better ball position. And Bartosz did that so masterfully. He wasn't switching out his Pokemon too much, but he protected at the right times.
Yeah.
Whereas Alex, I think, played a little bit too not so much conservatively, but maybe picked the more obvious choices. Like, you know,
I would say maybe even he over-predicted more often than he played conservatively.
Because Venusaur just didn't protect.
We've seen him Psyshock into the Heatran 2 times, I think, in a row. And that's kind of the mistakes that he made, I think. Because we were talking about how in game 1, yes, Tailwind could be a good option, but on the other hand, you want your Kartana in this game.
Yes.
But I think that's also the good thing about this Venusaur Groudon lead, is that Bartosz offers pressure right from the get-go. And you don't want to go be put to sleep with the Sleep Powder, so you go for your own Tailwind. But that kind of offers Bartosz the option to just knock out the Tailwind there and then be up already in terms of Mon's advantage. And I think in the end, just like we said in game 1, Alex didn't take advantage of this Tailwind enough,
no,
like
definitely
he said he should do.
I think every time the sun comes up, Venusaur's in a good position.
Exactly, and I think Tapu Lele, it's a good Pokemon, but it's not able to one-shot Groudon. I'm still assuming that Venusaur's the Sash. We still haven't.
Mystery.
We still haven't confirmed that at all. So it could also be Barry or something else. But this Heatran also just walled it. So at some point he had Smeargle and Lele on the field, and it just doesn't offer enough pressure at all. And then your Tailwind turns just run out, and you forget to do damage, kind of.
And that Smeargle, it could have had such good potential at helping support out the other Pokemon, but it went to sleep straight away, practically. And that just shut it down for the rest of the turns. Yeah. So unfortunately couldn't utilize it. But we will be grabbing Bartosz really, really soon for a quick interview. So don't go anywhere, trainers. We're going to ask him all about the game.
Okay, welcome back, guys. We are here with the winner of round 5, Bartosz. Bartosz, how are you feeling after that victory?
Really good. Felt really good. Alex is obviously a really tough opponent, but I had a nice matchup, so it went good overall.
Yeah, I really liked how you played that game. I think that Venusaur-Groudon combination was so problematic.
It is. Venusaur-Groudon is great overall.
Yeah, it was really good. It worked out really well for you. I really liked the Heatran as well, because it just... Yeah. You really made sure that this Tapu Lele just couldn't do anything on Alex's side. Yeah.
Heatran is really good against the mirror versus other Groudons and Xerneases. And he just didn't have a way to deal with it. No. He was spamming like Psyshock, Moonblast into it and does nothing, so it just sticks around.
At all. Yeah, and then you actually got that 4-0 in game 2, so that must feel really good when you get a 4-0 against a player like Alex Gomez.
I didn't even notice until you said it right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think if he didn't look in the forfeit, it would have been a 4-0. I mean, now it's now.
At that point it was, yeah.
Yeah. So how have your tournament been so far? Have all matches been this kind of dominating?
No, actually, 3 of them have been 2-1. Was really close. But I've been avoiding the bad matchups for most of the day, so I'm happy about that. Yeah, I still haven't seen a single Ho, which is the biggest problem to my team. So I hope I can keep it like that.
I heard it a lot. I think that's almost always the case. If you run Xerneas Groudon teams, it's usually Ho is one of these Pokemon that you struggle with, especially if you have 2 Grass Pokemon as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, really nice team.
Walls most of these teams.
Yeah. Yeah, really funny, because we had Yuri on as well. We're kind of running the same 6 as you. Do you know that a lot of people are running this team?
Yeah, it's pretty common. Yeah. Angel Miranda used it in Philadelphia to get top cut, and then like people picked up on it. I mean, there was a bunch of people in like top 32, I think. We had a very similar team, so just it shows the power.
Yeah. Yeah, do you think it's the best team in the format at the moment?
It might be. It's very good against most of the things. Yeah. It has some bad matchups, but like every team does. So
of course.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about that. I was looking for a way to maybe deal with Ho more reliably, but in the end I realized that, wait, what am I doing? Like, I'm losing to Ho, which is not even that common, and like if I try to deal with it better, then I'm gonna lose to other things. So you can never have an answer for everything. So.
No, and I mean now you're 5-0, so it worked out in the end for sure. And I mean, you gotta be really unlucky if you keep facing Ho now. I mean, that shouldn't happen, right?
No way.
I mean, now I might have jinxed it for you now, so I'm sorry if I did. I'm sorry if I did. But yeah, I think good luck for the rest of the tournament.
Thanks.
And do you have any shout-outs you want to give? Or?
I definitely want to shout out the Polish community who came with me here. The first time actually we have a VGC Polish team.
Oh, that's cool.
With a lot of actually 4 people. Okay. And a friend of mine is actually 4-0 as well, so I hope she does well. And maybe we can meet in the top cut.
Yeah, that's impressive actually. 2 out of the 4 players 4-0.
Yeah.
Wow, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, yeah, so definitely good luck to you guys. So yeah, we're gonna wrap up this interview right now, and don't go anywhere. We're gonna be back at you guys soon for round 6. So we'll see you guys later.